Hello, good evening. I'm Earl Gibbs, and welcome to Speaking of Everything. With me this evening, I have the Managing Director of the A.U.I.S, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the St. Martin School of Medicine.
American University of Integrated Sciences, St. Martin School of Medicine.
Quite a long name, huh?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So, as the manager of this medical school, before we start, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a career entrepreneur, American-born, of Grenadian descent. I've spent the last 25 years in ancillary businesses surrounding healthcare, first as a healthcare administrator, then healthcare practice developer and facility developer, and ultimately in medical education. So I've been around it for quite a while.
You're not a doctor.
Not a doctor.
Okay. I understand you're quite a avid pilot. So
I am. I'm a multi-engine instrument-rated pilot with that still flies experimental aircraft. I'm typed in a number of different platforms.
Okay. So now about the school in St. Maarten. This school one time was in St. Eustatius.
School was founded in 1999. It was initially on the island of St. Eustatius, where it stayed 14 years. And in July of 2013, the previous owners moved it to St. Martin.
And how is it now in St. Maarten since that time?
School is in much stronger condition than it was when we acquired it. Our primary business is that of a recovery specialist, and we took over the school when it was having some difficulties, and it's now a stable organization, growing steadily and doing some cutting-edge things.
So you're out of that problem that you had before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
In terms of students, tell me about the student body of the school.
The majority of our students are American or Canadian students, academically focused on the health and allied health fields. Majority of our students seek ultimate employment as practicing physicians. They study an allopathic program that is enhanced and reinforced with an integrative medicine program. And in very short order, we'll be expanding that with a business of medicine program as well, giving our students a more well-rounded exposure to the health community.
What's the average cost per semester for a student at that school?
On average, students are paying $9,800 a semester, 3 semesters a year, so just shy of $30,000 a year.
When you look at medical schools throughout the Caribbean, there are many of them.
29 schools distributed throughout the Caribbean islands.
Is it difficult for you to attract good students?
No. Our school has a very unique offering. It's technology-centric, and it's one of the few schools that has aggressively integrated or adopted an integrated philosophy. So we focus on prevention of sickness, not correction of illness.
And what about students from St. Maarten? So because a lot of medical schools in the Caribbean, and sometimes we see students coming from all over, and they're here. Sometimes in some territories they give special tuition to students. What about your school?
Our school provides 2 scholarships annually to St. Martin students that are academically qualified, as well as a discounted tuition program for students from the St. Martin community and surrounding Caribbean islands. We're a boutique school focused on providing opportunity for students who might not be the traditional student. So many of cases, our students are older, later deciders who have a passion for healthcare. In many cases, our students are former health professionals, nurses, physician assistants, and medics who decide to make the next step.
So your average age is what, around 30, 35?
Our average age is probably around 26.
So the two scholarships that you gave, are those full scholarships for qualifying St. Martin?
They are full basic science scholarships, and then we provide the students with a discounted clinical scholarship.
Now, in terms of applying to the school, when a student from St. Martin wants to apply, and I think this is very important for our people that are watching this program, what is really the procedure? Do they apply in St. Martin, or do they have to apply to some office in the United States?
Well, they apply online. And the application process is very simple. They complete the application, they submit their academic transcripts, historical transcripts. They are scheduled for an interview, and post the interview, they're eligible for admission into the program.
And that's done on St. Martin, the interview?
Yeah, it's done electronically.
And also you said it's 2 years or...
2 years in the basic science program, which is didactic and bookwork. And then followed by 2 years of clinical medicine exposure.
And that's in the U.S.?
In the U.S. and Canada.
So in the U.S., what's the name of the school in the U.S. that they...
It's the same school.
Same school? Okay. What part of the U.S.?
We have students throughout the United States in 430 plus hospitals across the country.
Okay, so where's your main office in the U.S.?
In Atlanta, Georgia.
And do you think people are aware on St. Martin about this school?
Well, I think we've been very active on St. Martin to become an integrated component of the community. We've implemented a number of community health events. We've contributed to the hospital, and we've worked very diligently to be recognized as a member of the St. Martin community.
So your students also take part in services to the hospital at times? And
our students are actively rotating at St. Martin Medical Center. We do community health awareness events, most recently in July and this past May at the A.U.I.S Super Center in Gold Bay. Yeah, well, I'd say many St. Martin residents and many residents from some of the surrounding islands are aware of us. We're well recognized throughout the Caribbean because we're not a new school. We're new here to St. Martin, but we've been established in the Caribbean since 1999.
For the average person who's not aware of how medical schools work in the Caribbean, can you give us a little example here? Because
well, medical school in the Caribbean differs somewhat from medical school in Europe, and in some respect, although less so with medical school in the United States. The students in the Caribbean schools, in 90% of the cases, are enrolled in a program nearly identical to that of the U.S. school. They do 2 years of basic science study, which again is book work and classroom work. Then they spend 2 years executing what we call clinical rotations, and these are clerkships where they work with licensed physicians in teaching hospitals, and they gain their clinical experience and exposure. And then post-completion of the program, they then sit for the U.S. medical licensing examination, which we call the USMLE. And upon completion of the USMLE, they're then eligible to pursue residency in a qualified residency program in a hospital somewhere in the United States and/or Canada.
So basically, if you're a student from St. Martin and you're going to go to your school, you have to make sure that you have your immigration papers and everything in order for the second 2 years, right?
That is true, currently.
And that sometimes could be a problem for some people.
Well, you know, one of the interesting things about it is if one is looking to immigrate to the United States, doing so as a medical student will actually smooth the path there, because America has a physician shortage right now that's projected at 220,000 physicians by 2020. So with that level of deficiency in available physicians, we're welcoming physicians from all over the world. Currently in the United States, 26% of practicing physicians are what we call IMGs, International Medical Graduates, or foreign medical graduates. These terms are interchangeable, but the net of it is that these are students and physicians who have been trained abroad, have met the U.S. licensing criteria, and attained U.S. license, and they're welcome residents within the United States.
So it shouldn't be any problem, really.
I suspect not.
Earlier you told me that the tuition cost was $30,000.
On average, tuition's $26,000 to $30,000, depending upon what phase of the program you're in. Your first 2 years, it's $28,000 a year, and then the second 2 years, it comes close to 30.
That's a bargain.
In comparison to U.S. and/or European schools, yes, absolutely.
So you think in the future you'll have more people taking advantage of that bargain?
Well, our school is targeted and deliberately structured as a boutique school. And one of the things that we pride ourselves on is an 11-to-1 student-faculty ratio. So we don't have classes with 50 or 100 students like some of the other larger schools. Our classes have 11 students, 1 faculty member, and it gives the faculty the opportunity to have real one-on-one interaction with the students, thus enabling the students to get a more robust educational experience.
So right now in St. Maarten, you have approximately how many?
61 students actively here on the island, and another 260, 280 students in the United States.
And your semesters start in September? Or?
We have 3 intakes a year.
Oh, 3?
Yeah, September, January, and May.
You know, when you look at medical schools, and we were just speaking during the break in terms of admission and credits required, you were saying to me that you only require, what, 90?
Yeah, we require 90 credits. Obviously, these are credits that are pre-qualifying credits, so they're...
But that's shorter than the bachelor's.
Yes, it is. But, quite frankly, we don't require that you take a course in European history to be a physician. So we focus on the prerequisite science classes, science and math classes, to qualify our students. So you need 90 credit hours to meet our pre-medical requirements, and then you're eligible to matriculate through our MD program.
And in terms of maintaining your students, right, and the quality point average, is there strict quality point average required for students?
This is no different than any domestic U.S. medical school on U.S. soil. The academic program is rigorous and demanding, and there's a significant portion of the population that are not going to make it. So we're very cautious about the students that we admit. The students who are in these international medical schools in the Caribbean, these are not subpar students. These students are academically qualified to make it into U.S. medical schools. And in many cases, they can't because of reasons unrelated to their academic qualifications. What we represent is an opportunity for the student, and in many cases, the non-traditional student, who deserves that opportunity to attain their goal of becoming a physician. And we don't discriminate against the students because they haven't met some minor criteria. But our students are academically equivalent to every U.S. student.
So, for example, a student that is going to USM can apply to?
A student from USM can apply. Their credits are transferable. And we'll evaluate the parity between their science and math credits to our prerequisite credits. But in the case where the student meets the qualifications, they'll gain admission. And as a St. Maarten student, again, they'll receive an advantage economically to enable them to meet the economic demands of the program.
Now, the campus is now located in Cold Bay?
Campus is located in Cold Bay, although we're very excited. We've entered into a relationship with the developers at Indigo Bay and look forward to beginning construction on our permanent campus here in St. Maarten in Indigo Bay.
Oh, that's a beautiful location.
Yeah, we're excited about it. We're going through the challenges and delays of permitting and government issues, but once we've navigated through all those hurdles, I anticipate we'll begin construction in a very short order.
In terms of navigating all the different, I see you laugh. I tell you, St. Maarten is not easy. It used to be easy.
You know what? That is true. St. Martin is not easy to navigate the government and political challenges that are associated with business expansion. But in all fairness, it's not easy in New York, and it's not easy in California, and it's not easy in Boston or in Atlanta either. So St. Martin has no patent on those challenges.
And in terms of our pace and way of life,
well, I think what you have to do is enjoy the positive of wherever you are. And St. Martin's pace is different than my historical background coming from New York, but there's good in that too. And the people who come here to study enjoy that pace.
Right. Right now, you don't have any dorms, right?
We do not have dorms yet, no. Most of our students are in private housing. So we've made a significant contribution to the local community and stimulated the housing in the Coal Bay area. In fact, I am told that Coal Bay housing has escalated in rental rate because of our students.
So when you move to Indigo, will you have campus or you maintain?
We will have campus, but one of the things that we're committed to as an organization, as I alluded to earlier, my personal background is Caribbean. My family is from Grenada. And I've seen how these schools have influenced the islands that they reside on. One of our solid commitments as a core component of our business philosophy is to be a solid contributor to the community. So we're looking for partners in the community to participate in the housing that we're developing, and so that economic improvement not only improves our coffers but those of the local community.
But so far, you're satisfied with the way things are going?
So far, we're satisfied with the way things are going. We have received a good welcome from the community. We've gained support from the hospital, from many of the ministries within the government, and we're progressing nicely.
What has surprised you the most since you've been here, 2013, you said? Mm-hmm. What surprised you the most?
I think the warm welcome we've gotten from the community. I think the support of the St. Martin people is notable. They recognize the advantage to our participation in the community, and they've welcomed us, and that's been very noticeable.
And you said earlier that the school is a boutique medical
Yeah.
school.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of the ratio to students to professors is very small.
Our student-faculty ratio right now remains at 11-1, and we seek to maintain those numbers as long as feasible.
Isn't that expensive to maintain that?
It's prohibitively expensive, but it enhances the quality of the education. And the net of it is we're here to provide an educational resource to a non-traditional student. We want to give our students every possible advantage to differentiate themselves from their competitors when they hit the clinical experience. And our students are going to be exceptionally better qualified in their clinical experience because of the type of one-on-one exposure they've gotten.
And you said non-traditional, meaning that they are older?
Well, it's all sorts of variables. We have students who are college graduates and been out in the workforce for 10 years and decided they always wanted to be a physician and are pursuing it. The opportunity for them in the United States doesn't exist, but the opportunity for them exists with us.
Why is that?
Well, because in the United States, medical schools take you straight out of undergraduate, and the competition for those slots is so rigorous that the non-traditional student typically doesn't have an opportunity.
You're here in St. Maarten since 2013. The school, you're satisfied with the way things are going with the school?
We're very satisfied with the way things are going with the school. As I said earlier, I'm a New Yorker, so I'm always impatient. But
and is there anything you want to see soon that you think is important?
Well, I would love to see the time to process government documentation accelerated. I think if we could move faster to get our campus built, that would be great. But those are common challenges.
So how long you've applied for the permit?
Well, we've just been here since February of 2014. We completed our charter agreement, and now we're in other phases, and that process seems to continue to morph into more requirements. But we'll ultimately get through it, and we'll have a stellar campus in Indigo Bay.
I guess it's quite challenging with all the requirements that are required.
It's very challenging. I mean, the bottom line is that we're educators. And while I'm a business person, my business is actually educating students. I'm not a contract negotiator, nor am I a political bureaucrat. I'm an educator.
What's the approximate number of graduates you've had so far in the school?
The school has graduated in excess of 600 students since 1999.
That's a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're working mainly in the U.S.?
Predominantly in the U.S. In states, New York, we have students in New York, in Florida, in Baltimore, Massachusetts. We have students in California, in Missouri. We have students all over the United States and some in Canada as well.
More women than men in the school?
Interesting question. Today, more women are applying than men.
So, and that's quite, it's not only here, it's all
over. What's interesting, to take it a step further, there's more women in American undergraduate universities today than men.
Is that changing in the near future at all?
I don't know. There's so many variables impacting on that. Demographics, the economics of education are prohibitive today. As we were talking off break, 2 out of 11 academically qualified students make it into a U.S. medical school. Most of the cases and in most of those cases, those students, while academically qualified, are denied access for economic reasons. And with the average tuition of a U.S. medical school hovering at the $70,000 mark, that denies a lot of students from diverse cultures access. And it impedes on the quality of care that is received in hospital, because there's solid statistics on morbidity, mortality rates when patients are treated by physicians of cultural familiarity.
If you put that in terms where all people can understand, I think I'll appreciate that.
You get better results when if you're black and from the Caribbean and your doctor is black and from the Caribbean, and you get better results if you're Indian and your physician is Indian. It's that simple.
I've heard that from
so much for political correctness.
Yeah, I've heard that from some doctors. I tend to don't want to believe it. Probably it's true. I don't know.
Well, I can tell you why it's true, and it's actually a very valid and good reason. Let's take the patient who is from one of the Middle Eastern cultures and has a sensitivity to being handled by another male. Yeah. Their religion, their culture prohibits this. Yeah. Their comfort level with the advice that they gain from that clinician is challenged. And their likelihood of compliance with the instructions provided them is diminished. Result, they don't recover as quickly or as well as if they had complied. So maybe they would do better if they were treated by a female physician of a similar cultural or religious background with a sensitivity and understanding to the nuances of their lifestyle.
Last year was an issue like that in Holland with a medical student from the Middle East. So
yeah,
it makes a lot of point. Yeah. So we're basically almost out of time. So anything else you want to share with us that I didn't ask you about?
I'd love to talk about how we can get more people from the Caribbean in these schools. And I think that the communities, we have communities within the context of the Caribbean islands that are being treated by physicians from Holland, from throughout Europe, and some throughout the United States as well. And they're enjoying the sun, they're enjoying the beaches. But there are qualified, capable people right from these islands who would love to benefit their local community. And A.U.I.S. is a unique opportunity for them to attain that objective. And that's something that we're very proud of.
So you're encouraging even local people to apply to school?
Not only, I am requesting that local people apply. And don't be be shy or scared off by the financial burden, we will always provide some adjustment and assistance to people from our host community. You can't visit one of these islands as a guest and not immerse yourself in the community.
Okay.
And part of that means you have to make adjustments in your tuition to support the students.
So they'll have to go online, or could they come by the school?
They can come they can visit the school. We always welcome visitation, and we'll schedule an opportunity for them to tour the school with one of our other students. Or they can simply go online at AUIS.edu and apply.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Pinckney. Really appreciate it.
Oh, our pleasure.
All right, and that's it for now. I'll see you next time. Till then, good night. Take care. Bye.